to the voice 17104.com.
All right, and welcome to the Griot Collective. I started to say Servant Leadership 101. Griot Collective. Here we go. And so glad to have you again as a viewer on this program. I'm Nathaniel Gadsden, and we're here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. Enjoy doing this program quite a bit, and I hope that you will continue, to support this station and all the various programs that are on every single week, every single day here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. Today we're going to talk Africa. And there's so many things that I find as a person who simply an admirer of the African culture and had a chance to go to Africa twice now in my lifetime. Just excited and thrilled and, I don't know what to say. Anytime I learn about Africa or I'm able to touch the continent, it just lightens me up. Why? Because I realize the history and the nature of our being here in this country, which is our country, America. I was born and raised here, and I claim America. At the same time, I know that I'm an African American, and I have deep roots that run into Africa. In fact, when I did my ancestry, I found out that I'm 98% African. I have others, like everyone else, stuff mixed into me, but I'm 98% from the continent, according to the two platforms that I've gone on. And I have no doubt about that. From my father, who was actually born in Jamaica, but whose roots run deep into Africa, and my mother as well. There's no doubt in my mind. And so I do have an affinity for the African culture, the various African cultures, because Africa is not one country, it is a major continent. And we have to remind ourselves of that constantly. And there are various cultures that represent various countries throughout Africa. And had a chance most recently to go to South Africa and to visit with many of the tribes that were there and see some of the wonderful experience, some of the wonderful history, the landscape, and the people, as well as the culinary, the food as well. So anyhow, I want to talk tonight about that and ask Brother Chris to bring up two videos for us. And one will deal with women leaders in Africa, and there are many women leaders throughout the continent of Africa who are making some serious noise and doing great things. But also I asked him to bring up another video that deals with the higher education in Africa. We tend to forget that many of the persons that we lift up as great scholars, from the Greeks to, the Romans to whoever, many of them will tell you in their own literature that they first got a lot of their knowledge from Africa, from the Songhai Empire and from other major, universities and scholars that were all throughout the continent. I'm always amazed that whenever I pick up a book, I go to one of these major bookstores, and I've repeated this before, and that is you pick up these books and they'll say, who are some of the great thinkers of the world and this and that. And it's just, heavy with Europeans, and very seldom do they reference any African scholars in those books. Maybe one sprinkled here or there, as if, there may have been one. But believe me, when you touch the continent, you realize that there are tremendous scholars and scholarship that has been developed throughout the continent. And a lot of things come from the continent of Africa that we hold as near and dear, from science discoveries to all kinds of different things, architecture, you name it. We've touched it. And so tonight, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to lift that up. This is the Griot Collective. And one of the things I like to do is to remind ourselves that the culture, African-American culture, is replete with a tremendous history that goes way beyond and before the enslavement period. Yeah, we were an enslaved people, but that's not where our history starts. And that at least we should forget that. We should never, ever forget that. And while we do have a divide in many ways between African Americans and Africans, that is overstated and overblown in my estimation. There are many examples of Africans and African Americans not only getting along, but thriving together. And so, that's what I like to lift up. We can always talk about the bad, but let's talk about the good, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm going to ask Brother Chris, if he doesn't mind, first starting us off with the first, since this is Women's History Month, we'll say ladies first, and we'll start off with a video that looks at women leaders on the continent of Africa.
Africa has been slow to embrace women leaders in politics, but there is an exclusive group of female presidents who are now laying the foundations for future female leadership in Africa. For example, in September 2005, Ivy Motsepe Kasaburi served temporarily as the acting president of South Africa for 4 days when the president and his vice were out of the country. She was also selected by the cabinet to serve as the constitutional and official head of state for an interim period of 14 hours on the 25th of September 2008. This was the period between the resignation of the then president Thabo Mbeki and the taking of office by Galame Motlanthe. But in this video, we'll take a look at 10 African female leaders who have occupied this position for more than a month. At number 1 is Sylvie Kinigi from Burundi. The first female president in Africa was Sylvie Kinigi. She served as Prime Minister of Burundi from the 10th of February 1993 to the 7th of October 1994. During this period, she also served as the acting president of the country from the 27th of October 1993 to the 5th of February 1994 after Burundi President Melchior Ndadaye was shot and killed. Following Ndadaye's death, Kinigi continued to govern the country as acting president for 3 months, making her the first female in Africa to handle this position. At number 2 is Ellen Johnson Sirleaf from Liberia. Nobel Peace Prize laureate Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is Africa's first elected female president who served 2 consecutive terms after winning the 2005 and 2011 presidential elections. She had initially run for presidential office in 1997 against Charles Taylor, but she lost. She was the 24th president of Liberia. During her tenure, she was also elected chair of the Economic Community of West African States in June of 2016. At number 3 is Rose Francine Rogembe from Gabon. Rose Francine Rogembe served as interim president of Gabon from June 2009 to October 2009 after the death of the president Omar Bongo. As president of the Senate at that time, Rogembe automatically became the head of state. As reported by VOA News, the country's constitution sets out that this position is first in line for presidential succession if the president is unable to fulfill his or her duties. At number 4 is Monique Osan-Belepiu from Mauritius. Agnes Monique Osan-Belepiu was the acting president of Mauritius from 31st of March 2012 to 21st of July 2012. This was the transition period between the resignation of the then president Aneroud Jugnaut to the inauguration of the president Kailash Puriyag. She served again as acting president between the resignation of Puriyag and the inauguration of the president Amina Guri from 29th of May 2015 to the 5th of June 2015. However, this position is said to be ceremonial as the real power holder in Mauritius is the Prime Minister. At number 5 is Joyce Hilda Banda from Malawi. Joyce Hilda Banda was the first female vice president and president of Malawi. In 2011, she founded the People's Party. Between April 2012 and May 2014, she served as president after her predecessor Bingu wa Mutharika died suddenly in office. As vice president at the time, Banda was next in line to be president according to the constitution. She was the country's 4th president. 2 years later, in May 2014, Banda was heavily defeated in the next presidential election. In 2014, Forbes named President Banda as the 40th most powerful woman in the world and the most powerful woman in Africa. At number 6 is Catherine Samba from Central African Republic. Catherine Samba was the acting president of the Central African Republic from 2014 to 2016 after rebel leader Michael Jotodia resigned from his self-appointed presidency. This was according to Reuters. Before becoming president, Samba was the mayor of the Central African Republic's capital city, Bangui, from 2013 to 2014. At number 7 is Amina Gurib Fakim from Mauritius. Amina Gurib Fakim was the first female president of Mauritius. A Muslim woman, she was unanimously voted into power by the country's National Assembly in June 2018 and served until March 2018. As mentioned earlier, in Mauritius, the position of president is largely ceremonial and the prime minister is the most powerful office in the country. Gurib Fakim is a scientist and she holds a honorary doctorate degree from Pierre and Marie Curie University. At number 8 is Saleh Wegzewdi from Ethiopia. Saleh Wegzewdi was the first elected female president of Ethiopia. She took office on the 25th of October 2018 after being unanimously elected by members of the country's National Parliamentary Assembly. This was according to Al Jazeera. The position of Ethiopian president is largely ceremonial, as the prime minister is the most powerful figure in the Ethiopian politics and the commander-in-chief of the Ethiopian Armed Forces. She had previously worked as a special representative of United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres to the African Union and head of the UN office to the African Union. At number 9 is Victoire Dogbe Tomega from Togo. Tomega is the new Prime Minister of Togo since 28th of September 2020. She is the first woman to hold the office. Prime Minister Dogbe Tomega is a respected and seasoned politician. Prior to 2008, she worked at the United Nations Development Programme. In 2008, Tomega served as the Cabinet Director of the President. In 2010, following the re-election of President Faure Gnassingbé, Tomega Dogbe was appointed Minister of Grassroots Development, Youthcraft and Youth Employment in Gilbert Humbo's second mandate. Tomega was named Prime Minister on the 28th of September 2020 by President Faure Gnassingbé after the resignation of Komi Selom Klasu. At number 10 is Samia Suluhu Hassan from Tanzania. Following the sudden death of President John Magufuli of Tanzania, his deputy Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan was on Friday 19th of March sworn in as the first female president of the country. According to the Tanzanian constitution, where the office of president becomes vacant by reason of death, then the vice president shall be sworn in and become the president for the unexpired period of the term of 5 years. This means Samia Suluhu Hassan will be in office until 2025. Previously, she was the Minister of State in the office of the Vice President in charge of the Union Affairs. Born on the 27th of January 1960, Suluhu was an MP for Makunduchi constituency from 2010 to 2015 and had been Minister of State in the VP's office for the Union Affairs since 2010. She has also served in different ministerial positions since the year 2000. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe before leaving.
Fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Brother Chris, you did an outstanding job, man. Thank you for finding, that wonderful video for us. Yeah, there's a lot to be said there. There are women leadership all throughout the continent of Africa. And we don't ever hear about those powerful, dynamic women here in the West because we just don't, there's no news cast that comes on that leads with a story about any of those women, unless it's something tragic, of course, and I haven't heard anything about any of them in recent times. It is interesting how that happens. You would think that, great leaders like that and all of the issues that go on around the world would be somehow lifted up somewhere, sometime within our news structure, and that people, our people, any people really, should get to know that there is African leadership, both male, female, young, old, it doesn't matter, that it's doing something significant in the world. But, oftentimes when we hear anything about Africa, it's negative. And we hear anything about leadership, it's a man. So, that was a wonderful countdown of some of the 10 most powerful women. And there's others, believe me, there are others on the continent of Africa who are making a difference. And many of them were elected officials. They ran for the office. They beat out their male counterparts. And the people voted and said, that you will lead, you will be the president of this country. And so that was at least, 10. And I guarantee you that there are many others. One of the issues with leadership in Africa, of course, and, just on the continent, there's some leadership issues. There are people who are concerned. Let me see here, whether or not, can you still hear me, Brother Chris?
I still hear you, but I don't see you. So there you go.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on with this computer all of a sudden. I'm not sure, what's happening, but it's a lot of that there were some issues times. So this is, almost to be expected. I hate to say that, but yeah, this is something that we're going to have to deal with and figure out what to do and how to get this fixed. But our computer all of a sudden is acting up more than it ever has. But you can still hear me though. That's a good thing, Brother Chris, just as you were showing that, I may want to sit down and talk with you about whether or not I want to keep this program or not. We had talked about whether or not I was going to give this servant leadership for Monday, and also possibility of not being able to do this program on Thursday nights. Have you been able to find anybody at this point?
Not necessarily. I mean, I was trying to wait till the beginning of the month to make sure that was the case.
Yeah.
It's still open as of now. But
yeah, I'm thinking that because that's that demonstration of how you're able to pull that video up. That's such a rich thing, and I love this platform. And I was thinking maybe I could incorporate more of this kind of stuff into the workshop, but that kind of takes away from the workshop and the people that are, coming on. And I love the readings and everything. And we already do videos, the spoken word videos. I really wouldn't want to take away that platform, But what we just did, for example, that was a powerful video of some women leaders. And also it gives me an opportunity to interview people. So
yes,
if I had somebody on tonight, I can do a whole hour long. So I've been thinking about it. And I think I just may hold on to this. I still am going to give up the Monday one for sure.
okay.
Yeah, but I think I may, just sort of, so we'll talk.
That's fine. No issues at all. I'm waiting on your word. I mean, you've been good to us, so you lead the dance, and we'll follow on that one.
Now, you got me leading the dance, man. You know I can't dance. I got 2 left feet. Come on now. But no, that's good. We'll definitely talk and everything because I enjoy this platform. I really do. And I've been thinking about it, and things are tight, but we can work things out.
Understood.
So we'll figure it out.
We'll talk about it offline.
All right. So anyhow, I appreciate that, man. And again, that was a wonderful video. I appreciate, that. One of the things that I do want to say about, our recent trip to Africa back in, I guess was in November that we went. We were able to go throughout South Africa. We went from Johannesburg all the way down to Cape Town and all in between, with Pretoria, Durban, can't think of all the different places, but really, really powerful trip. And I was able to look at the news as much as possible there, and also, interface with some of the people that I travel with who have been to the continent in many different ways. And there's some leadership issues. There's some things that are going on. And Africa has always been challenged with people who, their government systems, not all of it now. There's some countries that are very, very stable, and some that have a lot of corruption from the government down, top down, and all that kind of stuff. But who doesn't? Come on now. Here in the United States, we have, corruption. And believe me, prior to, Joe Biden coming in, we just went through 4 years that were unbelievable by anybody's standard. I don't care, whose side you're on. You have to admit those 4 years under Trump were really, really turbulent and unprecedented in many different ways. So anyhow, we'll talk about that. So we can't point the fingers just at Africa and other third world countries or countries within Africa that have issues because believe me, we are a big major power and maybe one of the greatest powers this planet's ever seen in terms of military might and economic development and all that kind of stuff. But we do have issues, major issues, and those issues exploded on the streets of America and all throughout the world with the killing of George Floyd and many, 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 many others prior to George Floyd and after George Floyd. And also all the issues of people trying to overthrow elections and, the disinformation that's been coming out and all the other things and the racism and stuff that, reared its ugly head again. It's amazing how we even survived all of that. But we did. We're still here, still kicking, and people still trying to get in. They're storming the Bastille, trying to break down the gates and the walls to get into this country because they know where they currently are is 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times worse. And so they're doing anything they can to get here, the land of quote unquote opportunity. And it is that, it really truly is. But it comes with some baggage to others if we said that it did not. But the truth of the matter is, we're talking about Africa tonight and how we have to focus on, the fact that Africa is a thriving continent with a lot of good leadership, a lot of good people, and a lot of things that we just don't do before. Don't know that Africa has, major cities, universities, major corporations. There's just a lot going on over there that we don't consider when we think of. We always think of poverty, we always think of corruption and stuff like that, but there's some great stuff going on. And one of the things we're going to talk about in just a few minutes is higher education in Africa. And there is higher education in Africa, some great scholars coming out of Africa all the time. And believe me, almost every major corporation that we see here in this country is located in the continent of Africa somewhere, somehow, and not just in one part, it's all throughout. And, and also the Chinese have moved in tremendously in Africa, trying to establish, or not establish, they're buying up and building and doing all kinds of stuff. And there's been some challenges there too, between the African and the Chinese. Oftentimes the African feels they're being disrespected, and it goes on and on and on, this kind of thing of stuff that we have to consider. And in some circles, there's like a love-hate relationship between those two cultures. But, it's happening and we will deal with it in many different ways. The world, when I say we, the world will have to deal with it and it will, we will deal with it because we have to. And that's how the whole world is, not just in Africa, but the whole world. One of the things that I love is the rich culture. The art that comes out of Africa is just incredible, from the artwork to the expressions of art. And oftentimes when you think of great artists, once again, you don't think of African artists. You think of Leonardo da Vinci and Rembrandt and all these kind of people who have European written all over them, but you don't see or hear about great African artists. However, African art was stolen from Africa in a huge way. And people still talk as if it was primitive art, it was this, was that. But guess what? The colonizers realized how valuable the art was. That's why they stole it. And in many of the great museums of the world, you go around the world, you find African art on display. There has been a movement to and artifacts that were stolen from Africa, taken from Africa. And some of the countries are actually giving it back, giving those items back. And that's a major coup. That's a major, advancement for people to realize just how valuable, the art is and was, and how much of a robbery it was for, the continent to be raided as it was. And then for people to call ourselves primitive or insignificant, but steal it and put it on display at the same time. Yeah, that's deep, isn't it? That's real deep. So we're going to make sure that young people in particular, all people in general, realize the value of the continent of Africa, the diversity of the continent of Africa, and also the richness. And yes, there's poverty. Yes, there are some ways that, are not necessarily modern in certain parts of the, of the continent. But the fact of the matter is that in many, many, many parts of Africa there's great technological advancement. and corporations and, tremendous history is established on the continent. So we have to keep that in mind. We can never fool ourselves or pretend that somehow it is just a large third world country with no value to it. Nothing could be further from the truth when you start talking about that kind of thing. I'm going to ask Brother Christopher to pull up the second video now, the one that deals with higher education on the continent of Africa. And I think this should be, first one was just absolutely outstanding with the women leaders that we just saw. And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And here we go.
Hello viewers, welcome to Explore Africa. In today's video, we are going to take a look at the top 10 best universities in Africa. These universities have been numerically ranked based on their positions in the overall best global universities rankings. Each institution was evaluated based on its research performance and its ratings by members of the academic community around the world and in the region. Before we start, be sure to click the like button and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future educative and informative videos regarding the interesting continent of Africa. With that out of the way, let's begin. 10. University of Pretoria, South Africa. The University of Pretoria was formed in 1908 and is situated out of town in the city of Pretoria. It's a non-profit local higher education institute and it accepts the enrollment of about 45,000 students per year. You can come here to get your bachelor's, master's and PhD degree as it offers different courses to choose from and is situated in a very safe city. 9. Cairo University, Egypt. Cairo University was founded in 1908 in the metropolis area of Giza. It is also a public and non-profit university. Cairo University is recognized and approved by the Department of Egyptian Higher Education. It's the largest university in Giza that facilitates more than 45,000 students. It allows students to enroll in their desired program, which is available in the prospectus. This co-educational institute facilitates the large population of students of Giza and provides quality education. However, this university is formally associated with the religion of Islam. 8. University of Nairobi, Kenya. This non-profit public university was built in 1970. It is situated in the urban areas of a metropolis in Nairobi. It's an official university approved by the Higher Education Commission of the state. The university has campuses in different regions like Kisumu, Upper Kabete, Lower Kabete, Kikayu, Shiromo, and Parklands. It also offers different programs that cover many areas of study. 7. University of Johannesburg, South Africa. The University of Johannesburg was established 16 years ago in urban areas of the metropolis of Johannesburg, Gauteng. It is the largest university in South Africa and has more than 45,000 students. This university is officially recognized by the South African Higher Education Department and it offers co-education. 6. Northwest University. Northwest University is a non-profit institute established in 2004. Its location is in the suburban areas of the medium city of Potchefstroom, Northwest. It offers good courses and recognized degrees by the Department of Higher Education. The university allows the student to enroll in different fields of education like IT, math, life science, etc. Students can get bachelor's, master's and doctorate degrees from Northwest University. 5. The American University of Cairo, Egypt. The American University of Cairo is a private and non-profit university that was built in 1919. It is a higher education university situated in the urban site of New Cairo, Cairo. The Middle State Commission of Higher Education officially recognized this university. It has a range of 5,000 to 5,999 students. AUC is an Egyptian institute that offers higher education in different official and valid programs. Students can get their degrees of pre-bachelor, bachelor, master and PhD degrees. The pre-bachelor degrees include short courses, diplomas and certificates. 4. University of KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. This is a modern non-profit public university that was first established in 2004. It has different campuses, but the main campus is located in the urban areas of Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. Other campuses are located in Pintown, Westville, and Pietermaritzburg. This university is officially recognized by the higher education and training sector of South Africa. 40 to 45,000 students can enroll in this university. It offers official degrees in various sites of study. Students can do their bachelor's, master's and doctorate in this university. 3. University of Stellenbosch, South Africa. This is a historical university founded in 1918 in the small city of Stellenbosch, Western Cape. You can also find its campuses in different locations like Saldanha, Tygerberg, and Belleville. It is also a non-profit public university that provides higher education. It has official recognition from the Education Department of South Africa. More than 29,000 students can get admission to this university. It also offers degrees of bachelor, master, and doctorate. 2. University of the Witwatersrand, South Africa. This university was established in the urban areas of the metropolis of Johannesburg, Gauteng. It's a non-profit institute providing facilities for higher education. This institution has official recognition from the Department of Higher Education and the Commission of South Africa. It's the largest university that holds 35,000 to 39,000 students. In addition, it provides a facility for co-education. It also offers degrees in various fields of education like bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees. 1. The University of Cape Town. This is the Institute of Public Higher Education founded in 1874. The university is situated in the suburban metropolis of Cape Town, Western Cape. It's an institute of co-education that provides quality education. It focuses on making students expert in their academic assignments, including essays, summaries, theses, research reports, etc. At the starting phase, students can face challenges to do their work professionally. Then they can hire an online essay writer to get help. The University of Cape Town is a large university that holds 20,000 to 24,999 students. This higher education institute offers official and valid degrees in different programs. Students can enroll for a bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate in other fields of study like engineering, IT, arts, and business. So here you are, the top 10 best universities in Africa. Which of these universities impresses you the most? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Also, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future education.
That's excellent. Man, oh man. I tell you, you knocked it out the park once again. That's wonderful. And you notice there was a huge concentration of a lot of those universities that were located right here in South Africa. This is one of the more advanced countries, of course, and especially that whole system of apartheid was, one of the worst in the world has ever seen, in terms of separating people and just discriminating against people. But once again, also, you saw the magnitude of having that kind of rich, richness within the country of South Africa, where so many of those universities, thrived. Out of the top 10, I think there were at least 4 that I saw, maybe 5. But yeah, powerful stuff. And how come we never hear about those kinds of things or that kind of information here in the West? Well, because it's designed that way. Africa's not valued. Of course, the women leadership is not even thought of, not spoken of. And then we come to higher education, which you saw, those were modern buildings in a lot of instances. And students were flocking and, doing their things. They were getting it in. I mean, this looked like a typical college campus here in the United States. But no, that was on the continent of Africa, and people are learning, and they're learning at a high rate, and the facilities are A1 as well. We have some areas where they're not, that's for sure. Even in this country, we have some higher education buildings and programs that are crumbling, and the infrastructure always becomes a major concern for whoever. And then we take a deep look into what needs to be done in order to maintain these institutions. I just had a person tell me how much their son wants to go to Howard University, and just may end up there. I think he got an acceptance already, and maybe he has finances, maybe not. I'm not sure, but I know that's a consideration. But the point being that he went to Howard and looked around and said, "Wow, this is beautiful." But at the same time, some of the buildings there are challenged, in terms of the oldness of them and how they've been maintained or not maintained, makes a difference. And then he had a chance also to go to other colleges, universities. He kind of got stuck on Howard because he likes Howard. And there's a lot to be said about Washington, D.C. and having an urban campus and all that, which he doesn't have any of that right now in terms of a high school, which he's graduating from. But, I told him, I said, don't be fooled by, the nice postcard and all that kind of stuff, because believe me, when you get there and you see it up close and personal, you got to make a decision because he's been to some other campuses where things were much more modern, much more spiffy. One university just opened its doors and they're looking for students and all that. Buildings are nice, no question. Buildings are A1. But the question becomes, do you want all that history and that legacy and all that other stuff, the connectedness that goes beyond? Do you want that to be your driving force and determinant as to whether or not you're going to go to this college, or do you want the nice shiny buildings? There's a lot to be said about legacy and leaving your footprint and following in the footsteps of others. And then there's a big, chunk of that to also say, yeah, but these buildings over here are shiny. And this is a beautiful campus, and the administration seems to be friendly, and I think I may want to go there. So you do have a choice, to make. And when we look at Africa, we always judge it from a Western standard, and that's a mistake as well. Africa is Africa. It has its own challenges, but it also has some tremendous, beauty and nuggets in there that you would not expect to find, especially in the major cities of Africa. Man, there's some. You think just walking down the street to Philadelphia and New York in some instances, because that's how sort of modern it is and all that. But they don't forget, not at all. They call each other tribes, and they don't forget. They take this whole thing called the human experience very, very seriously, and they're also very respectful of God. They incorporate God in just about everything, as we do here on this program. We try to make sure that we give homage and pay homage to God, because without God, where would any of us be? And so the continent is replete. Our ancestors left a legacy of what we must do and how we must do it, even in the midst of corrupt leadership and people without a vision who are perishing and all that kind of good stuff. Oh yeah, we have been through it. We have been through it. But I hope those two videos tonight help you to understand the magnitude to which Africa influences the world every single day. Every single day we have new converts coming into Africa, into the United States from Africa. We're coming, into Africa, because of the activism that they've been displaying and talking about. It's important to know the difference. It really truly is. There's stuff that's thrust upon you, and you just find yourself in the leadership role, and then all of a sudden you're leading a charge that you really don't have a whole lot of heart for, but you're leading it nonetheless, because this is what fighters do. This is what defenders of a free democracy do. So when you have that kind of platform, that kind of parameter, and then you read it over and over to yourself, you think, man, if I can just get an opportunity to go, or to experience for myself, to see what it's all about, maybe I have more respect for the continent and for the people and all the achievements and accomplishments that have been made in the name of Africa. But unfortunately for the bulk of us, we won't go, and we'll always cry for finances, and that's real. It does cost money to go, to travel there, and then once you get there, you have to deal with bartering and all this other kind of stuff, and it's a game, but it's a game worth going to. So I do hope that whatever you do, that this day on this program, you will be inspired to go to any part of Africa and just live among the people, meet the people, and ask them about school, ask them about various things, so that you can get a better sense of who they are, and they can ask you things as well, and they get a better sense of who you are. So that's important that you understand that. So knowing the history, knowing what's happening at any given time is always important. And it was nice to see Lisa Ricks come in today and rescue her husband. We were having a great time there, in fact. And she came in because she was having a meeting also with another young African-American woman. And they sat there and talked. I have no idea what they were talking about. Well, none of my business. But here she was having a meeting. She came over and gave me a hug, and she gave her husband a hug, and just saying, hey, the world's a good place, and we're glad to be part of it. So that's all it's all about. For those of you who don't know, but my man Jason Moffett, who is an outstanding poet and teacher, he has done some tremendous work in terms of capturing the spirit of our people and the things that we do as a poet. And one of the things I'm very proud of when it comes down to all African culture is what we do on a Friday night, right here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. We do what's called the Writer's Workshop. And we always have videos that, come up. Thanks to Brother Chris, he pulls those up for us. And we we have a good time. And we, get into a lot of subjects. Queenie Clem has been a marvelous, Gadsden for us. She's out of South Carolina. Got Africa in my mind. She's out of South Carolina, and she comes on as much as she possibly can. Her schedule's changed, and she's come on every week. And we were blessed to have her last week, but it's been a while since we've seen Queenie, and so we hope that she's back for good, and will continue to, support us by doing what she does, so well. And so, that's what this program is all about. It's about the Griot collective and how we as a people, whether it be Africa, whether it be America, South America, North America, England, Italy, going down the line. The question becomes, are we able to have voice there? Are we able to affect change there? And I say yes. What do you say? Well, we don't have a call-in program, but we could. And my question for you is, what do you say about our progress as a people, about our view of Africa, about our ability to form relationships on the continent? Very important stuff. What it truly is. And our employers have always had the right to say, no, I'm gonna pull us back in, but hey, that's if you have an employer. But the truth of the matter is, we need to make as much time as we possibly can to understand our brothers and sisters from the continent and to encourage them to continue to produce right here in these United States, of course, as well as back home. Produce whatever you do. You're the carrier of the gift, whatever gift you may have, produce. Whatever that thing is that you need to do that you've never done. Maybe you've never done it simply because, you didn't have the opportunity to or funds to, whatever. But most times, it's either free or no cost. Low cost, I should say. Low cost or free. We try not to, gouge anybody. Brother Chris has been a tremendous help to this program and also to the Servant Leadership 101 program over the last couple of years. And also now, she's going on to do greater work. And so we're certainly going to miss her. And I know that she's, added valuable, stuff to, to this platform. And so, when people move on, we got to thank them. We got to, remember them. We got to honor them and then let them go, because we all have to, move on and grow. There are a lot of people who came out of Africa, came to this country willingly and wanting to establish themselves and found out that, things weren't as easy and as smooth as they thought it would be. I am proud to talk about, we claim redeemed Christian Church of God, especially Living Springs, Redeemed Christian Church of God, which you've highlighted on this program before. And why do I mention them? I mention them because Redeemed Christian Church of God is comprised of mostly people from the continent of Africa, but certainly from the African diaspora. And I don't know if Brother Chris could go on their webpage there and show you what they did this past Sunday, because they had an International Women's Day program. And they did have a video up that I saw on Facebook that gave you some of the flavor of what that looked like. It's always very colorful, very beautiful. And if Brother Chris, I know I'm challenging you here, but if you have an opportunity to go onto the page, Facebook page of Living Springs Redeemed Christian Church of God and pull up their recent video of their International Women's Day celebration. They had some pictures up and videos. It would be nice to be able to show a little bit of that, because you have a slice of Africa right here in central Pennsylvania in many different forms, not just Living Springs. There are a number of different businesses now that have popped up, different churches, different associations and clubs. They're everywhere, they're making their mark. And especially there at Living Springs, which I see every Sunday. There are people from Jamaica and from other parts of the world. And one of the things that they do is they do a parade of nations where they talk about, the various African countries. with the flags that they have. I don't know if they did that this year. We were too busy doing our own service, but it is a spectacular. It is beautiful, when they do it. And so, yeah, hats off to them and what they do. And they are highly educated people, by the way, too. I mean, not everybody's walking around for PhD or anything like that, but you can tell that there are a lot of folks within that congregation that have availed themselves to, in higher education, many at the top level, going to the Penn States and other places and getting these master's degrees and all that. It's a grind for a lot of them, but they get it done. And a lot of them many of them, in fact, are single business owners, proprietors, They own their own business and they're doing great work. And Brother Chris, I knew you'd come through. Here we go. Here you go. So this is Redeemed Christian Church of God, 3600 Vartan Way. And just some highlights from their recent International Women's Day celebration. Beautiful. And that was just a small taste, but that was nice. Thank you for sharing that. And you saw Pastor Tunde up front there. And I'm not sure if that was from this past Sunday or another one, but it gave you a flavor of what happens there, especially during their Women's Day celebration. Dynamic speakers and all. Okay. Oh, there you go. Brother Chris is bringing us some more. Okay, fantastic. And they're coming in with the flag. You can see the pictures there. Ah, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's from this. I think that's this. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. That is beautiful, isn't it? Man, oh man. Yep. And what first attracted me to the church when I forget how we first met with them, and they weren't located in this particular location, which is 3600 Vartan Way. They were actually down the street from the church. They had a smaller building, and they, did this parade of flags, and we thought, boy, this is beautiful. And then when they moved into this current facility, which is much, much bigger and has all kinds of space in it, boy, they just really picked it up. And so it's a beautiful experience, and the people there are warm, and they do food banks there for the church congregation, which is a large church congregation. They have all kinds of fellowships that they do, going to people's homes, and they always have a theme for the month, and they celebrate every single month in a very unique way to remind themselves that we are Christian people, and that we must remember God in all that we do and all that we say. But anyhow, it is a powerful, service. And I was glad that Brother Chris was able to show you part of that. And if you ever get a chance to stop by, we're located on the second floor. We are Life Esteem Ministries, Redeemed Christian Church of God. And then there's a French-speaking church and a Spanish-speaking church. And then, of course, there's the mother church, which is Living Springs. And there you go. That's the picture of where we're located there. And that's a big sign there announcing Living Springs Redeemed Christian Church of God. And believe you me, that building is electrifying when the people are all in it and doing what they do. And the technology that they use is just outstanding. They've done a great job of that as well. And then the facility is well kept. And we have our Life Esteem ministries where we do our family programs, such as Strong African American Families, which is an evidence-based program. And we do that a few times a year. We also have Celebrating Families, which we're currently doing. And in fact, we were there this evening and I left out and came over here to do the program. And then, of course, we have, what's the other one? The Strengthening Families, Celebrating Families, and Strong African American Families. So Strengthening Families and Celebrating Families, hopefully we got both of those in. But these are all free programs and they're located, we host them right there at, Living Springs, which is 3600 Vartan Way in Harrisburg, and it's free. And we'd love for you to come out and be a part. That's the one, look at that view. That's a beautiful view there. That's actually a different building. Is that us? That might be, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Okay. It's coming from the other side. That was the old church there, I believe. Now this is that's right. I think that was the old church that set down off of Progress Avenue that they moved out of, I believe. And then you have this one here, which is all glass. As you can see, there you go. Yeah, okay. That's a different view. It looked different when you first put it up there. But that was definitely the church. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, good stuff, Brother Chris. I appreciate it. I think that's why I'm trying to hold on to this program because you just do such a great job with the technology and everything. And, and this is a platform where we can talk various things. So here's the thing. I hope that one day you get a chance, an opportunity to travel to the continent of Africa. And, really do your research and your homework to find out where you might want to go. What country would you like to visit? And, there are some strong leadership in many of these, countries. There's tremendous, the architecture, the natural beauty of the continent. It's just outstanding. There are foods there that you may not have experienced at this point, but you may, discover that there's some great African food out there. I know we talk about, Italian and Chinese and, all this other stuff, but, soul food even, but we don't talk about African food as much. And we do have a couple solid African restaurants here in Harrisburg, and even where you are, more than likely, there's a good African restaurant somewhere, no matter how small it might be or large, but they do a great job of, cooking food and getting you fed. So hats off to them. The church, the African church, the African Christian church, still lives and thrives. I see it every Sunday morning at Living Springs Redeemed Christian Church of God. And of course, Life Esteem Ministries Redeemed Christian Church of God, which is our congregation. And we are an online ministry. We do have some people come in and visit, like Brother Art Miles was in this past Sunday. And he's been a long time member of the church now, him and his family. And they don't come in as regularly as they used to, but they're online every Sunday. It is online. And we get a chance to, break bread through the word of God. We break the bread of knowledge and of wisdom, and we do that by using, of course, the word of God. And that is the Holy Bible. And so whatever you do, come on down and join us. Whether you come on the Voice 17104 Harrisburg and look us up on Facebook, or you come directly to just on Sunday morning, come to Nathaniel Gadsden on Facebook. Go to my Facebook page and you'll see a live broadcast of Life Esteem Ministries with yours truly as the pastor, Assistant Pastor Reverend Bill White, and my wife who talks about the programs and everything. The three of us pretty much comprise the leadership of the church, and we try to get it in every Sunday morning, whether we have just a small sermon or service or a major banquet. We're going to be there if God is willing, and we're going to exalt him and uplift his people. That's what it's really all about. And we be part of this people, by the way. But anyhow, there you go. That's okay. Thank you, Brother Chris, for finding that. that's what it looks like. And I think that was me this past Sunday. And, we preach from the pulpit there, and, we simply bring the word of God. And you can see it's, we're a little colorful there, and that's where we like to keep it. But we have a lot of fun. Our ministry is based on not just being online, but also being of service. And so we do have, thanks to my wife, Patricia Gadsden, we do have programs called Celebrating Families, Strengthening Families, and Strong African American Families. We also have, what's called the Writer's Workshop, which airs on Friday nights right here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. And that's by invitation only. But if you'd like to join, just let me know. And actually, we invited a young lady who's only about, I think, 18 years of age. And she's been writing, and she shared some writings with me and with some others. And we told her that she's going to be a part of the workshop now. We gave her a special invitation to come on and be a part of the workshop. So I would have to give Brother Chris an alert, because there have been some people who came through and called themselves hijacking the station. There you go. That's a wonderful flyer that Chris Thomas himself, the Reverend Chris Thomas, put together. And that's my wife, Patricia, and myself. And we have a great time together, putting together not only a church service, but also, plans to travel and do other things and to give back to the community. So it's all about that. And we want to make sure that we maintain that. Now, again, most of everything that we do is free. The question becomes, how come people aren't flocking to it? And that's because of the stigma associated with it. Oftentimes people say, oh, your program is all about, people on alcohol and drugs and that stuff. That's not true. Not true at all. It's about people. And so, that's what it's really all about. It's just about people. And, if we have to talk about, people who are making mistakes, and, we'll talk about that. But our primary focus is not to be judgmental or put people down, but it is to rightly divide the word of God. And by rightly dividing the word of God, we're going to step on somebody's toes, maybe our own, step on our own toes. But, the fact that we can step, and the fact that we can remember, and the fact that we can to know and then grow from it, that's God's gift to us. Okay. But listen, thank you so much for tuning in. It is that magical hour. And Brother Chris, I appreciate you, man. You did an excellent job bringing stuff up as we, went along. And I can't even tell you how, tired I am. I got so many little projects on the burner here, but I'm always happy to do this program, though. And so we're going to talk about, maintaining and moving forward and all that good stuff. And I hope to see you next Thursday right here on, The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg, for the Griot Collective. And we hope to bring you a very special guest next week. God bless you now. Have a good evening. Brother Chris, we will talk. Okay, my brother. I like that poster too, man. I like that poster. Thank you, my brother. Okay, God bless.